Tom from Tom's Toons. What we have here is a 2001 Aqua Patio. This is a big boat. If you look from the side, this thing just keeps on going. It's a 24-foot, 8.5 wide, really nice plush seating. It's a cruising, lounging kind of boat. What we're doing to this one, we're keeping the seating. It's in great shape. They've taken good care of it. We are replacing this green worn out carpet with the tan woven vinyl teak pattern floor. And actually come around back with me real quick and I'll show you what happens to this carpet, because to the feel, I mean, you can tell it's getting worn out a little bit, but in the back here, the years and years of sun cooking your carpet just slowly makes it start to fall apart. You can feel the chalkiness of it, and that's just the nature of the UV on carpet over time. Your new vinyl products are made way better to withstand sun and weather than the old carpet. The other thing we're doing, which is a big project on a boat like this, hopefully you'll get to learn something from it, we're doing new skins. So this is a challenge on this type of railing because we have the outside lip. The bolts are on the inside. We've done and shown in videos how to do the paneling when it looks more like this, where the panel is on the inside and the lip for the panel is on the inside. However, in this case, we're gonna have to be really delicate, peel this lip. We have some obstacles to work around, like curved cuts. This is gonna be a challenge, but it's gonna be well worth it when we're done, because it's gonna look like a brand new boat. Flooring, railings, the only thing original is gonna be the seats and the console, and they've already done a good job of putting a brand new big 4-stroke on it as a power plant to push this. We'll show you some tips and tricks along the way. Otherwise, can't wait to show you how it turns out when we're done. What this boat lacks in giant spiders makes up for it 20,000 million fold by these guys. There are a bazillion of them. This is something that you could do before you tear your boat down, but now that I have it torn down, it's a lot easier to see. So this boat, the boards were held down originally 100% by deck bolts. So this is something you can order ones just like this from PontoonStuff.com. They have little teeth. They basically go into the plywood, and then they are tightened from the bottom with a nut, nylock nut typically, or any other sort of locking nut. That is how the boards were held on. This is a slower, a little more tedious process. It works great, but it definitely takes more time. So what I do is I measure, and you could do this from underneath the boat before you even tear it down, before you order your deck kit. This is only about 1.25 inches of surface for those boards to rest on. So what I do, and I'm spoiled, I have them on hand, I have deck screws. So this is a seam here. I'm gonna use deck bolts, just like what were on it, right on the point where the two boards come together, because this is such a narrow little spot to seam together. With self-tappers, it would be really hard to get a good bite and not have risen places and whatnot. But this one, at 1.25 inches of surface on top, this is not a seam, it's the middle of the board. I will use self-tappers there, but I'll go ahead and use the deck bolts on my seams. So that's something you might look at, but if you're just gonna order one set of hardware, if it's 1.5 inches or less, so this being 1.25 inches, I would definitely go with deck bolts. It's actually gonna make your life easier and be a more secure way of bringing those seams together. So here's that blend. We've got self-tappers, countersunk flush, and then we've got our deck bolts. So those are flush as well. We countersink those, and that's how this goes. So we lay a chalk line for our non-seams, and Corey went ahead, ran the self-tappers across, and then on the seams, we ran the deck bolts and more of them. We're about to roll this vinyl out and get it glued down.
We're done.
Done for the day. We're gonna let this cure up. We'll get back at it tomorrow. We'll get all this furniture wiped down and back up on it. And then we're tackling the railings. We're gonna remove the old Aqua Patio skins, all the tin, the aluminum, and we're gonna reskin that with a nice beige, metallic beige. Gonna wrap all this in together nicely. The tans in the seat, the tan of the floor. It's looking good. One of my favorite parts of the project. When you get the fresh vinyl glued down. This is awesome stuff, feels great on your feet. And pretty much zero maintenance. Just rinse it off and you're good to go.
See, there's carpet right here.
It's an interesting place to put carpet.
Yeah, it's a little late. We were gonna go fishing if it was a short day. You should see his face right now. He looks very disappointed.
Are you saying we're not going fishing? It's that or trivia. It's kind of win-win.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we've got the deck trim on, we've got the furniture up and just out of the way, because now we're moving on to these railings. So we've done a video on replacing railing panels, just the sheet metal that's in here. It's just a thin, usually aluminum, sometimes plastic, depends on the boat. This is aluminum. We're gonna be replacing this with more of a beige color, kind of like this goldish metallic beige, the whole thing. So one solid color, make it a little more modern looking. But the tricky part with this boat is, we haven't done this yet, the aluminum is on the outside. So we're gonna have to be really careful, get this bent up as much as we can. This lip is gonna be pretty tender in terms of ability to crack. It's more likely to crack. We'll be really careful. We're just gonna pry it up, get the old sheet metal out to use that as a template for the next piece that's gonna go in, and then we slide it in. We've got a full video of this project, repaneling these railings, on our YouTube channel. I will put the link in right now. You can click over to watch that video too. If you like this video and all of our other how-tos, please consider supporting the people who help support our channel, like Brunt Workwear. We have a coupon code, saves you on work boots and work clothes. And then the obvious PontoonStuff.com. They've got the same flooring, the plywood, the whole kit to do this project correctly. You can order your accessories, you can redo your entire boat, furniture and all, from them too. Check out the link there, and you can always support our channel financially by contributing at www.buymeacoffee.com/TomsToons. All those links are in the description below. Let's look at this. Yellow and green coming from orange and black. That makes no sense. We'll fix that. I'm just gonna cut back to the original harness. I've already had to go to the dash and test which switches power which. Thank goodness. An easy little 12-volt indicator. This one's a little more complicated, but it works. But if we look at what happened here, these are for my docking lights. I figured that out. Not traditional colors, but they make sense. Orange can be an accessory. But then we have more of a traditional gray wire coming through with a ground. But look at what somebody did. I have no problem with them splicing in another run of wire to go to the other side of the boat. But we have 16 gauge down to like 20 gauge. Doesn't color code, doesn't match up. It drives me nuts. So we went from gray to black wire. You just can't do that and make any sense of it, because gray is power, black should always be ground. Then we jump to little red and then a small yellow. And then further on, we have a whole bunch of different colors. Now we go to blue and black, back to white and black, back to both yellow. If you can follow this, I guess great, but if you ever need to chase down a problem and fix it, this is a big issue. So I'm gonna sort all this out. We're gonna cut it back to the original harness, reuse the proper colors if we can, and if we can't, we're gonna go to a black and red. It's way easier to follow, a coated wire. Red will be our positive, black will be our ground. That way, if anybody has to chase it down in the future, it'll be much easier to sort out. One of the most rewarding things when you're restoring your boat is when you hit the switch after splicing everything together and it works perfectly. Let's get rid of all that garbage. How many different colors do you count? Way too many. That's the answer.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Well, we got that working. Let's keep clipping away, getting the electrical and the motor stuff hooked back up.
Forgot
More?
the white, yeah.
What? Mm-hmm. And now we're all wrapped up with this Aqua Patio. Pretty unrecognizable. Again, this is that option to keep your railings and reskin. And then when we were doing that, we said, hey, let's make it a little more modern. We went with LED wall-mounted navigation lights and LED railing-mounted docking lights. So adding a new flare rather than those big, not LED lights on the front with the navigation lights that bulbs break and die, not as good for being out in the weather. But again, we repaneled all the railings, reused the furniture, and then the obvious big change besides the railings is this tan woven floor. This is the teak pattern, so kind of like a teak plank look. But let's hop in real quick, just walk around and show you the other little details that we did, because when you're in the middle of this big project, this big tear down to the bare bones, it gives you the chance to fix some things like that wiring that was a mess, but it gives you a chance to tidy up the console too. Come on in. So big comfy seats on this boat. There's nothing wrong with these seats. They're comfortable, the vinyl's in great shape, the boat's been taken care of, but that old green carpet was just too much. It was starting to wear out, it was starting to grow moss, it was starting to just lift right up. We go to the back here, if you take a peek in, there were lights underneath, so there's courtesy lights, but none of them were working, so we were able to tie those in to the courtesy light switch that's on the dash that powered this light, and we were able to get some courtesy lights for those nighttime cruises, getting on and off the boat, that sort of thing. And then we were able to repair things like the horn that never worked before, but it's just a simple diving in while we're in there. Let's take care of those things and make them new again. We reused the table mounts, reused the captain's chair, all of the rest of the electrical. We just cleaned up and made it operational and working properly as it should. Take advantage of that time when you have everything apart on your boat to make it like new again when you're putting all this effort into making it beautiful too. Thanks for watching.